Getting to my deathbed and thinking, boy, I'm glad I passed those maths exams. It is 6:15 in the morning, which means I got up an hour and a half late, which means I will not be getting any of the things done on my to-do list this morning before the kids wake up, which is a really encouraging start to my morning. We'll try and place the tales of ancient Greece up here in the timeline somewhere. Oh no. Did you hear that pitter-patter of tiny feet? It's too early. Help. Nothing is trivial, said Charlotte Mason, that concerns a child. The vast possibilities in the right direction of education are indicated in the open book of the little child's thoughts. Legend has it, if you say her name 3 times, you'll actually invoke the spirit of Charlotte Mason, and she'll come into the house and help you with washing up. It's just a little myth that's circulating around the single dads homeschooling 3 children community. A community of me. Hark, your daddy arriveth. You ready to bless the world today? That? Ready to bless this? Begged the nymphs who lived there to tell him how he might find the golden apples. They replied that by the command of their father Zeus, he must journey on to Mount Caucasus. Kids are finishing off their breakfast. My youngest, my 3-year-old, was like, I can't eat anymore. I can't eat anymore. And I said, why? He said, because this is bumpy. Because this is bumpy here. And I said, what's that got to do with your eating? And he said, I can't eat anymore because this is bumpy here. Don't judge. If you don't understand that logic, you don't know what he's been through. So don't judge. Last week was a light workout, so I really gotta get pedal to the metal this time. If I don't work out in the morning, my brain gets all floppy like an undercooked fish. And who, I ask of you, would want to be homeschooled by an undercooked fish? I just saw a spider that was literally bigger than this garage. Oh! Yeah! Looks like we can't go to book club because it's raining. Sorry. But do you want to stand outside in the rain for a bit? Look, these wildflowers are blooming again. Do you want to read to the boys or something while I cook? And then we'll do sewing and my place. This is not really a typical day for us because we're going to be home all day because of the rain, but also we're not really doing our normal lessons. It's our version of a summer holiday, which means today we're doing sewing and we're doing just fun reading. So yesterday you found the great horsetail, the European ash, dog's mercury, cuckoo pint, and common dogwood. Your job today, guys, is to try and find those again. Hello? Yeah?
I've been informed that you're involved in a car accident. That was not your fault. Is that right?
You've been informed that I was involved in a car accident that's not my fault. It's not right.
Can you hold for a moment?
Pardon me?
Good morning. How are you today?
Hello? You alright?
Or do you have not been in a slip and trip perhaps?
Nope.
Okay, do you not know of anybody that has been in an accident that may have left you next of kin?
Nope.
Alright, thank you for your time. Have a good day. Bye.
Okay, bye, love you. What on earth is this? Yeah, right, it is a bit horror movie-ish. Through there. Friend or foe? Or is it this? Yeah, now have a look at these two and see if you can find any difference. Are they both common mugwort? One on the top, one on the bottom. Okay, it's not perfect, but let's give it a go. You put it down. I realise that you're playing with it, but it's special string for this sewing machine. If you want to play with string, you can ask me for string. I feel angry. And I feel hurt that you've done that. I think you knew that. Love you. We just read some of this book, My Place, which is the story of a house in an Australian town and all of its different occupants, the children who lived there and their stories throughout the decades. So starting in 1988, and it goes backwards in time, 1978. We haven't finished it yet, we don't know where it ends up, but each child who lives in this particular house tells their story of what they do in the town and the big tree that they play in, the brickyards, their auntie lives over here, post office, and the sort of thing you find a pen pal send you. So you get an insight into how the culture changes, how the city works, how it's expanded, and it's a really special book. I do not take this time with my children for granted and what I'm producing here with them. But it's really hard, it's really tough, it's tougher than any other. Even people used to ask me how I was doing in a non-academic, non-intellectual, because I spent 4 years doing theology and like philosophy. And people said, how are you doing just kind of like changing nappies? Homeschooling is very tough on me intellectually. It presents enormous moral, philosophical challenges. So why on earth am I doing it? Why am I doing this? It's a question that I ask myself often, and I need to have a good answer. And hey, I do. So listen. Have you ever tried to get your child to do some grammar or some math or something, and they ask why, and you say, this is part of life, you gotta get on with it, and they go, and they say okay, and they try their best, but they just can't. It just seems like there's just something physically blocking their brain to get past. I think quite often that's because it's not meaningful to them. What the children have been taken out of is the close personal, loving, mutually committed relationships that engender or stabilize empathy, foster empathy and understanding a child's little heart, and not just his maths workbook exercises. That's taken away out of school, because that's primarily in their parents. The premier source of empathy in a little child's heart, for reading his heart, must be his mother first, primarily, and then father. So this is quite successfully removed from the business of school, in putting science, a little conveyor belt of scientists. The purpose I'm given is in order to pass exams so that I can become someone who earns money, really. But what if I don't care? What if I don't care about making money. I mean, at this stage in my life, and an 8-year-old thinking forward into making money. What if I don't care about passing exams and being thought of as a worthwhile intellectual? What if I don't care about being a part of this system that you're introducing me into? And what if I don't see that this is rooted in a greater meaning of my life being worth something, and my deathbed, getting to my deathbed and thinking, boy, I'm glad I passed those maths exams. What is well suited to giving a purpose to your daily doings and to a little child's nourishing and watering and giving sunlight to a little child's heart and growing up into it, flourishing intellectually as a mathematician, as a historian, as a scientist in the world, is not just the meaning of this means you'll pass your exams, but this means I will bless the world. And it's part of not just my personal academic or financial purposes in the world, but it is part of the Lord's purposes in the universe. The business of school and the structure of school suffocates it so quickly. You could say, okay, you go to school for science and you go back home for meaning and empathy. These are not discrete packages of information. There's the science information here, there's the empathy information here. We know that because of the child who says that maths, I don't care about maths. Why don't I care about maths? I believe because usually, in my experience, because you're missing empathy and meaning. So they are interlocked, they're interconnected. You can't go somewhere for science and push out meaning and empathy and say, it's okay, because when you get home, you'll get a load of meaning and empathy. There are lots of eggheads in the world. There are lots of charity workers in the world. There are plenty of theologians in the world. But if you find someone who's bringing all three together in power, hold on to them tight, because they are rare. And that is how I see my task as a father, is to produce the type of people who can do that photosynthesis, bringing the three things together, who exalts Christ globally, working truth and justice with him. And that is worth homeschooling for. Focus on me, focus on my face. It's the most important thing, thank you. Worth homeschooling for. Kids are in bed. They have dined, wined, in a manner of speaking, and I have signed the form, the going to bed form, and now they're in bed. The real fun for Daddy begins. Well, I think it's about time for bed. Father, I cannot do this job. This is an impossible job for me, creating little worshippers. Recreate me so that I am doing the Spirit's work instead of my own work, and that you are doing something greater than my homeschooling through my homeschooling. I need you. I need you, Father. In Jesus' name, amen.